Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
She went missing yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm ready to get my smack on today.
Yeah, we have quite a few videos we're going to work through. We're going to talk about the Dr. Seuss situation. We haven't really talked about it too much, but we're going to talk about the pushback to the pushback against cancel culture, if you can keep track of that. We have people pushing back against cancel culture, and now we've got some academics pushing back against the push.
Academic, and I'm using that in quotes, saying that, you know, it's basically blaming it on conservatives.
Conservatives
because they're losing, and that's why they're pushing back against cancel culture.
Yeah, this is coming from NBC News via Robert Schlesinger, who is a work-at-home dad, but he also wrote for U.S. News, Boston Globe, The Hill, etc. He's got a book.
Him. First of all, you know, again, I'm going to say it. People get mad at me saying it all the time, but I'm going to say it because it's relevant. We are not conservatives here at Clownfish TV. And I see a lot of people who think this whole cancel culture thing is absolutely ludicrous, who are also not conservatives.
Yeah. Bill Maher, who's pretty far left, I would say. He's pretty left wing,
This whole cancel culture thing, well, it depends, because it depends you ask. People are like, there's no such thing as cancel culture. But now you have this other guy being, not only is there such a thing, but now we're going to try and turn around and blame it on the people that aren't the ones canceling everything. Yeah,
so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the pushback actually coming from some surprising places. We have Turner Classic Movies refusing to ban problematic movies. They're like, no, you know what? These are historical.
Wait, Seven Brides, Seven Brothers is one of the ones they want to ban?
It's apparently problematic, yes. I don't know how, but it is. Gone with the Wind, we know. Breakfast at Tiffany's, we know. But they're like, yeah, we're not going to ban these movies because this is a part of our history. We'll put a disclaimer at the beginning that, you know, maybe they didn't age very well, but you know, these movies exist. They were major releases for various reasons. We're not going to ban them. And again, we have the New York Public Library refusing to pull its Dr. Seuss books down, even though eBay is actually taking Dr. Seuss books off of its site.
Yeah, because people were making a bunch of money on them because they went and bought them. Meanwhile, Amazon, I think, can't keep them in stock.
Right. So this is absolutely bonkers. We're going to talk about it. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 180,000 subs. Thank you for the support. And yeah, we haven't talked much about the Dr. Seuss situation. Just to recap, for those of you who are unaware, I don't know how you could be unaware of it, but 6 Dr. Seuss books have been accused of being racisty, and they're not going to publish them anymore. They were pulling them from stores, and they did it, I think, on his birthday.
Of course they did.
Dr. Seuss's birthday present.
Oh, was that the second? Because his birthday was March 2nd.
Because they were going to celebrate. They have Dr. Seuss Week. They were going to celebrate Dr. Seuss.
All kinds of schools celebrate it.
For years, and now all of a sudden, Dr. Seuss is racist. And of course, you know, they point to caricatures of, you know, different ethnicities in his book, and those are racist.
You know, I always find it funny because I get on some level. I don't always disagree that I think some of the caricatures that are portrayed in some things are shitty. I'm not going to say they aren't because it's not true. But meanwhile, modern day, the people that are yelling about canceling things because, you know, you shouldn't stereotype people are also the ones that are out there trying to, you know, are celebrating Snake Eyes being an Asian guy now. Because automatically, don't you know, if you're a ninja, it is only because you are Asian. Snake Eyes, if those who aren't familiar, was a character in G.I. Joe who was a white guy who was a ninja. He was an outsider. It was written by an Asian American man.
Yeah.
He wrote him that way. He made him the white guy to prove a point about being an outsider. Well, Hollywood, in their infinite wisdom, yelling about how you shouldn't stereotype people, are celebrating the fact that they're having Henry Golding, who admitted he couldn't even do the action sequences.
It's hard. I had to do push-ups.
Have Henry Golding doing it because, don't you know, in Hollywood, all the Asian people were in Crazy Rich Asians.
Is Aquafina in Snake Eyes too?
I don't know, but every time there's an Asian person, it's the same people over and over again. But you know, they're going on about how stereotyping's wrong as they celebrate that Snake Eyes is now an Asian person because clearly if they're a ninja, it's because they are Asian.
Finally, they fixed him. Finally.
You can't make this shit up. These are the people yell, you shouldn't stereotype people. Stereotyping's wrong. Have you seen the new She-Ra show? I mean, Frosta is now a little Eskimo kid because obviously when you have ice powers, you're clearly an Eskimo.
That's
I'm
right.
like, you cannot stereotype any harder than Hollywood does lately. But they're the ones going to tell you that stereotyping is wrong and should be canceled.
Well, this is all coming from academics. This research paper was
academics in quotes.
Yeah, put out a year or two ago about the
they've been saying this for a while. The cat is out of the bag. Orientalism, anti-blackness, and white supremacy in Dr. Seuss's children's books. I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't happen, but these books were also written in the 40s.
That's the thing. People don't. They have no concept of context or nuance or whatever. Some of the stuff is just old and it didn't age that well.
But meanwhile, books like White Fragility, where a white woman tries to tell the white people that the non-white community needs them to raise them up and save them with her white savior syndrome is, that's acceptable. Anti-racist baby is completely fine. But Dr. Seuss. Triggered. I'm like, you know what? If one's allowed, the other's allowed. I'm just tired of double standards.
So yeah, just to put this out there before we talk about the stupidity of this article. Again, New York Public Library. I'm sure very left-leaning, being in New York, being a library. They're saying, hey, we're not taking these books out.
Good. Lines need to be drawn.
Yeah, we do not censor books.
I agree with that.
All public libraries in the New York Public Library system.
Do you remember when back in the day, not that long ago, one of the reasons we leaned left and were liberals was because they were against censorship.
Yeah.
Remember that?
That's what I want to talk about, because now they're blaming conservatives for the basically fake pushback against cancel culture. And yeah, we've always been advocates for free speech, even if we don't agree with what you're saying. But back in the day, it was conservatives who were having a fit about things.
The different things like the Dungeons and Dragons, video games, rock and roll music. What do you call the moral panic? And now those things were all conservative based.
Yeah, and now it's coming. It used to be the religious right. And now
it's the religious left.
The religious left.
Basically it is. I'm sorry.
It is religion.
Everything you accuse the evangelical far right of being, I'm seeing the exact same behavior from the extremists on the left. Because extremes are extremes. Doesn't matter which side you're on. They're extremes for a reason. And both extremes, are extreme. Because they are. Hence the term extreme.
Now, just to jump in about the library again, they said in this case, the 6 titles in question are being pulled out of print by Dr. Seuss Enterprises, so the very few copies we have will continue to circulate until they're no longer in acceptable condition.
They're not going to replace them. They're just using them until they can't be used.
But you know what's going to happen.
Someone's going to take them out, destroy them.
Or just not bring them back, or just burn them or something.
They're going to do that or sell them on the internet. Or they're going to destroy the book. Because what happens if you destroy the book? Well, if you destroy the book, you just have to pay them back the cost of the book. So, fine. Well, I mean, I don't know if they're going by fair market value in the book, because fair market value is considerably higher than, what it was a week ago.
Well, you're not going to sell them on eBay, that's for sure.
Well, there's other places you can sell them on.
There is some darker corner.
Dark web. Dr. Seuss, dark web.
Dr. Seuss goes to the dark web.
That's
oh
funny.
My God. But yeah, Turner Classic Movies, they pulled some quote unquote problematic movies off the platform beginning on Thursday. Today, they're bringing them back.
Good. They probably got a lot of pushback about it.
Yeah, they're putting, they're reframing them. They're filming. They did this on HBO Max too. They pulled Gone with the Wind. They put new, introductions. That's all they had to do. I don't think anybody's going to watch a 70 or 80-year-old movie and be like, golly, we need to cancel all these dead actors.
Well, another thing, but another thing people get mad about, and that's they bring it up in this article as well, is that people are like, wait, you're implying that we're too stupid to know the difference. It's like these people are, these extremists want this stuff canceled, they want warning labels on it, like to warn people. People know what they're getting into. They're not that stupid. And it's really insulting that they need you, oftentimes white women on Twitter, to tell them that they need to be warned. Because they're too stupid. Otherwise.
Well, this is what they said. They said it's not about censoring the film. It's not about treating your audience as though they're not intelligent enough to see the issues. And it's not putting a child-proof lock on a movie or a caution label. It's about giving some context, which is
And that's what we have to do. Because if you have to cancel everything that was bad, every year, everything from the year before was going to be canceled because everything changes. It changes, especially in this day and age with social media and stuff. Everything what's okay and what's not okay changes like, that. Like they were joking about a couple of years ago, the women were wearing the lack of a better term, the pussy hats on their heads.
Yeah.
For protests. But now I saw Matt, you know who you are, was talking about how the fact is, well, now they're not supposed to be allowed to wear those because not all women have pussies.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I hate to use the terminology, but that's what they were calling it. So it changes every flippin' other day. So like everything from last year needs to be canceled because it's no longer in vogue this year.
Because everybody's a pussy.
Pretty much.
Everybody needs
a pussy hat, honestly.
Everybody's a pussy, and it's starting to get tiresome. Again, Turner Classic Movies. Ted Turner, Jane Fonda. On the left. Guess what? We're not canceling the movies. We'll put some context, but we're not canceling them. New York Public Library. We're not canceling it. Bill Maher. Cancel culture is destroying America. And then this dumbass. I'm an academic. Well, I guess I am too, because I have degrees as well. So there you go. Ex-US News, ex-Boston Globe. I can't imagine why. The Seuss debate shows Republicans cancel culture war is a fight against the free market. What he's trying to say, and I went through this article, is basically Republicans, because it's only Republicans against cancel culture, though we just showed you that is not the case.
And if you go even on to like social media and stuff, a lot of people who are not conservatives are also like, what the hell is going on?
Right. He's saying that Republicans, because he's trying to use reverse psychology, and he's really bad at it. He's saying Republicans are against the free market because they're not letting the free market run its course by canceling all of this stuff because that's what the market is demanding.
No, it's not. That's the point. If the market was demanding that all this stuff be canceled, why did eBay have to take the listings down? Because they were going for ridiculous amounts of money. If the free market, if you want to argue the free market determines, directions of things, that's funny because a few months ago that it was argued the opposite, but when it was pointed out things like comics don't sell when they're pandering to certain people. Star Wars is failing when it panders to certain audiences. And because the free market doesn't want that. So how come the free market gets to be what you want it to be whenever you want it to be that?
That's exactly the point. Because it's not what's going on. If the free market were allowed to play out, anything would be allowed, and only the things that are viable, financially viable, would rise to the top. Yeah, this whole article is just full of lies. It really is, because what we're seeing from the media outlets, and a lot of them, most of them left-leaning, is that they try to control the free market by taking away choice. That's what censorship is.
Controlling, what gets put out there, what you see.
Right. And so how is that a free market if you're canceling a book? The public wasn't demanding that Dr. Seuss be canceled. Obviously, the public still has an interest in it, given all the backlash, given how much money these books are going for now. It was the media, academics decided that they were going to cancel these books. And it's the same with, again, you were talking about Star Wars. They tried to basically replace the original trilogy with the sequel trilogy. It did not work.
Mr. Potato Head, nobody was asking for that change.
No.
Nobody was asking for this change. The reason people called it out was because it was absolutely stupid. The whole point was stupid. Basically, they had changed it to the Potato Head brand because they have Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, Potato Tots or whatever, tater tots or whatever. If they had all these things and they're onto that heading, I can understand it. If they had said that, there would have been no backlash. They didn't word it that way. And then it turned out that it was a non-controversy anyway because they aren't getting rid of Mr. Potato Head or Mrs. Potato Head. So there was no effing point to begin with.
So you get to the bottom, and this is when this whole thing falls apart. Because this is just, these are all lies.
Oh, it took to the bottom?
Yeah, there were a lot of little lies, but here, and all these articles are the same. We lead you down this path, and then we drop the stupid bomb.
It's all Trump's fault?
Yes.
Oh my, are you kidding?
Never mind that Facebook has long catered to conservatives. That is a huge lie.
Yeah,
that wasn't conservatism that got Trump a lifetime Twitter ban, but insurrectionist lies.
Insurrectionist lies. I love this. If you think that what happened last summer for months is different than what supposedly happened in January, then you know what? You're an idiot, because they're both the same thing. Both of them are insurrection. both of them were illegal. Both of them were wrong. I agree with neither one of them because they're pretty much the same damn thing.
Violence is not an answer to. I mean, this is just we've gone just full on.
Both
stupid.
was shit. It is what it is.
So here, I love this. I had to highlight this in blue because it was so stupid. This is stupid blue.
Blue, how ironic. No, it's sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, right. In a free market in which Twitter was making bad business decisions, users would punish it by switching to Parler and Gab. They're not allowed to. As soon as they started jumping ship to Parler, guess what happened? Conveniently enough.
Yeah, interesting. You can't use the term free market and then compare it to that. When your free market would imply that you have a choice. You are being made, you are regulated to the place you can only be on Facebook or Twitter or one of those, because when they try to jump ship to other places,
they get shut down.
That is not a free market. I don't know what his definition of free market is, because that's not what a free market is.
So then he thinks he's smart. You get to the end of it. In the end, the biggest victim of cancel culture might just be conservative principles because you're violating the free market. That's not the free market when you take away choices and you force people to buy from A or B and you don't give them a C, D, or an E, and that's what's going on.
Or there were a C, D, and E, but you made sure that was cut off so they only can choose your choices. That's not free market.
When you ban books, when you cause faux outrage in the media to ban books to cater to a handful of twidiots, and you shut down Parler, and I guess they're trying to shut down Gab now too.
But no, that was hacked. Supposedly hacked and all this information so that people are afraid to use it now. I think it was Gab. I want to say it was Gab.
I think it was Gab. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not on either one of those. But, this whole idea of free market, they obviously don't know what a free market means. A free market means there's a market without restrictions and people will decide what they want. And that's how you know what people actually want, because the free market decides. That's like, when you have like choices and then the people get to pick, and then you know from what the data you collect from that, how the market is. Free market is not when you limit choices. You tell people that they take those choices, they're bad people. And then when that didn't work, you literally cut the choices off. And then you say, well, if it's a free market, if it wasn't, Twitter wouldn't be doing well. Where else are they supposed to go?
People are leaving Twitter in droves. That's why they're charging. They're going to start charging for porn, basically, because people are leaving Twitter. So many people jump ship to Parler and immediately they shut Parler down.
Right, because they're cowards.
This is not That's the free market?
And I don't even go to
fucking
Parler.
Stupid?
This is kind of people who don't even use Gab or Parler.
No.
I'm just saying, because obviously, and this whole mentality, and this is what kind of Rowan Atkinson has been saying too, is this idea that if you don't agree with our choices, that you're against us. No, we just remember what the world was like before you guys decided to be insane.
Yeah.
And it was fine for a while, a long while. There was free market, people were allowed to make choices. You have censorship on everything. All the time. You censor it, you control narratives. It doesn't go your way. Here comes the friendly media to spin it. There's no honesty anymore. There's no integrity in reporting anymore. And then you have using the free market on things like Twitter. Are you effing kidding me?
God, that's just...
I'm an academic. I graduated from Clown College. It's just...
Hong Kong.
Our name's Clownfish, so we can't say much.
That's okay.
We know, because we run the damn Clown College.
We run the fucking Clown College. Let me go get my nose and my big shoes. Bill Maher calling it out again. The New York Public Library. We don't ban books at the New York Public freaking Library.
I'm just glad. I get one thing, if nothing else, I'll give credit to the New York Public Library and the TC, New York Classic Movies and stuff, because they're standing up against it. And until people start standing up against it, Bill Maher, and he's probably gonna take shit for it, but people need to stand up. If you do not stand up, nothing will change. They only can control this and pull this shit if nobody speaks up. And I know for a fact that there are people that are not conservatives who think this is stupid too.
A lot of people do. They just don't say anything because they know if they say something, they're going to get canceled. We talk to a lot of people who are like, I would speak out, but I know they're going to come from, so I got to write you anonymous emails from anonymous accounts, but trust me,
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. We aren't conservative, and we're speaking out. Because I'm tired of people like this person trying to speak for me. I don't agree with this stuff. Half this stuff is bullshit. And the final paragraph especially is like, dude, look up what free market is.
It's not a free market if you use Bolshevik tactics to take away people's choices and force them to use your services, read your news outlets, buy your books.
his whole argument is based on what his definition of free market is, which isn't even the right definition of a free market.
This is why he's an ex-reporter for these sites. I'm just like, I saw this, and we were going to cover the Seuss thing, but I saw that, I fell on my chair. I'm like, are you fucking... Then he's going on about potato heads. It's like Hasbro's using the free market because, they did some research and potato heads just more inclusive than... It's like, that's not the free... That's not...
Well, it was dumb.
God.
I can see changing it, like I said, changing it to the potato head title based on the fact they have different brands under it. That makes sense. But their argument was, we're doing it for inclusion reasons. It's like, that's not why you did it.
Then they had to backpedal within a couple hours because the pushback was so severe. If they had let it fly, just, hey, it's Potato Head brand with Mr. Potato Head, with Mrs. Potato Head, but they
already had planned that the whole time, but they never said that.
Yeah.
If they had just said, hey, it's Potato Head brand, because we have lots of different things under the umbrella, Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head. These kids that have both parts, like they used to do in the 80s, and no one gave a shit. We have all that coming, and it's easier to put under the Potato Head brand. People wouldn't have cared. But you deliberately tried to word it in such a way to cause a reaction, so you can say, look at all those bad people. Most people aren't going to use it as Mr. and Mr. Potato Head or Mrs. and Mrs. Potato Head. I'm sorry. People will, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. By all means, do so. But the majority of people are not going to do that.
Yeah, so I'm just like, this is just ridiculous. This isn't free market. This isn't because conservatives are losing. Like, basically, it's like conservatives are losing, so they're mad about Mr. Potato Head. I'm like...
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's exactly, you got us. You got us.
We're not even conservatives, and you got them. You got them. You're so right. But then, I guess anymore though, anybody who doesn't agree with this insanity makes you conservative. So in that regard, yeah, you got us.
Freaking ridiculous DMs and emails from mentally unstable people being like, "You're just a bunch of alt-right bootlicking Yahtzees, aren't you?" It's like, you dumbass. Do you even watch our videos? No, you don't. We got put on a list and people come after us because we're on a list.
Have they heard my many rants about why you shouldn't call people Nazis and use Nazi Germany and how insulting it is to the actual victims of the Holocaust? I guess you missed my dozen rants on that subject repeatedly. And when I call both extremes out and say both extremes are too far and it needs, people need to stop being nuts. I guess you missed all that. But anyway, ironically, I get yelled at too because I'm not far enough either way. We get people on the right too. They're like, just what? You're so wishy-washy. Just take the red pill already. It's like, or you're a leftist. Just admit it. I'm like, well, we've never lied about that. We've always said that,
It's like, we're not going to make anybody happy. Remember when people could have different politics and agree on the big stuff and the smaller stuff, we could have some discussion. Yeah, that's all out the window. That doesn't...
And stop stereotyping people as we stereotype people.
God, just stupid. We're going to wrap this stupid video up.
Let's do it.
Dr. Seuss not getting canceled from the New York Public Library, although somebody's probably going to burn the book anyway, because that's
what's going to happen.
That's the next logical step.
Someone's going to take it, and they're going, yeah, right. This is pretty much book burning at this point. They're going to take the book and destroy it, because they said they're going to keep it in circulation until it's no longer usable.
Yes.
So the answer to that, obviously, is going to be... and I'm sure they're aware of that, but this way they look like they're being, reasonable, knowing darn well that somebody's going to destroy it.
Yeah, like, we're not going to be bad guys. We're not going to cancel Dr. Seuss.
But if something happens to the book,
but if something happens, we can't replace it. Oopsie doopsie. And
it's not our fault.
It's going to come back with a bunch of dicks on it, and yeah. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up.
How dare you stereotype penises?
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.